Hey guys, welcome back. Inflation is through the roof. We pay too much for rent. We pay too much for our mortgage. We pay too much for gas in our car. And apparently, we pay a lot for food as well. Let's see how people are struggling.
Let's peep this. This is how I know Canada is officially going downhill. 16.97 for deodorant. Yeah, we're finished.
I never knew Canadians' armpits were that bad. 17 bucks. And after Canadian tax, $29.
$1 on 3 items at a small town grocery store in Washington State. You guys want to see? You guys want to see the 3 items I got for $41?
Yes.
First, we have the classic case of Diet Coke.
Okay.
Next, pull-ups for my daughter.
Those are always expensive.
And lastly, I got a pie.
Okay.
$41 for these 3 items. Let me show you the receipt. Look at that, $41.55. I also paid 8 cents for this reusable bag because we had to do that in Washington. Obviously, I was looking at the prices like as I was going. I was $10 for the case of pop, like da-da. But in my head, I had these 3 items in my hand. I didn't even have a basket. I had these 3 items in my hand, and I was like, it's gonna be like 25 bucks, right? Like it's gonna be like 25 bucks. Like that for the thing, pull-ups, this, 41.55. I was like, okay. 3 items. I will so enjoy this pie tonight though. Let's talk more about how inflation isn't real, right? And no, don't come in my comments and be like, thank you, Biden. I thought we've established by now that this is corporate greed. I know like here, small town, you have to pay more to get things transported here and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of a difference in like a small town. But it's like in general, everyone's hiking the prices. Like Kellogg's, all these companies are raising their prices. So stores are having to pay more for their prices. And then yes, like we are getting charged more.
All right, so what do you guys think of that? 41 bucks. Let's figure about $25 for the pull-ups. You figure 8, 9 bucks for the soda, and then probably another 6 or 7 bucks for the pie. That's one of those things that you got to do for special occasions. So I get it. At the same time, 10, 15 years ago, those same 3 items would have been quite a bit less, no doubt about it.
How we are surviving in this economy, because I am unsure. I went to the grocery store today and I'm just going to read you some of the items. I didn't go in for a lot. I didn't have a huge list. I needed rolls and some lunch meat for my husband. I got
Lunch meat can be expensive.
some yogurt, some milk, bread, 2 loaves. I got some cheese, some breakfast bars, and raspberries. Do you want to know what my bill was?
I want to know if your son's alive.
$108.31.
Oh, you're kidding.
$108 for like not that many things. Listen, I do not live
Your
I'm a
son.
stay-at-home mom. I work per diem. I work at the hospital a couple days a week, and I make a decent hourly wage when I do work. And my husband does not work a minimum wage job whatsoever. He works for a law firm. Like, he's director of marketing, but I don't understand how people who are living on like minimum wage, what are you doing? $108. This was not even my grocery trip for the week. This was literally like my quick, I need to grab some bread so I can make some sandwiches, and I need some milk. And I'm just going to.
So I'm just going to call cap. Some people are lying. For example, she said she bought yogurt. Are you buying the most expensive yogurt, and are you buying a 48 pack of the shit? Holy moly. And then that lunch meat. After I heard out about the flies and stuff and boar's head meats, I'm never buying that stuff again, and it's always been expensive.
I'm on my way to work and I just dropped my daughter off at daycare and they raised the prices again. Again. I'm so over this. I feel like it's every 3 months they're raising it again. And between that and groceries,
See, the car bills and the daycare cost are so exorbitant that when people start complaining about the price of groceries, with groceries, you can go generic, you can look for sales, you can use the discount cards. You can't really help the price of daycare and car payment. That is crazy stuff. I really feel for this lady. You can see the pain in her face. Look at her face. You see that pain?
car insurance, I have health care through my work, so I get that taken out every paycheck, and dental and vision and whatever.
She has
And
pretty
I
eyes.
don't make terrible money. Like, I work in the banking industry. But when are we gonna get our wages increased to match the inflation? When? When does it end? Like, honestly, I'm getting so tired. I'm so exhausted. And I know I'm not the only parent out there who feels like this. I'm so sick of it. And not to mention Christmas is coming up. Like, I used to find joy in the holidays. Now I'm just dreading it. Yes, I should prepare more, but honestly, like, this constant price increase, like, don't get me started on the Black Friday deals. You all have seen those videos where they're literally not even giving you a deal on Black Friday. And honestly, who wants electronics for Black Friday deals?
I know everybody already has electronics, and Black Friday deals suck nowadays. I agree with her totally. Thought it was amazing how her eyes matched her turquoise earrings. Gorgeous eyes.
Inflation is just companies raising their prices. I 100% agree. Raising their prices and not paying their employees more. And you know why they do this, why it consistently works in their favor. It's because that means that the minimum wage is worthless, that you have to spend more of your money to get more things, which means they ultimately make more money off of your back. Even if you increase the minimum wage, it won't keep up with inflation. I always like to put it into the perspective of, like, if you asked a random person on the street to perform a lot of the minimum wage tasks that are required, and you told them, hey, I want you to go clean those bathrooms for an hour, and I'm going to pay you $7.25. I'm going to pay you $7.25 for an hour of your time. Everybody would look at you like you're insane. They can make $7.25 way easier than that.
Now, I have a problem with people that say the minimum wage is $7.25 or $7.50 an hour. And yes, I know there's a couple states where it's actually that minimum wage. The problem is most of our fast food restaurants are competing with one another. So most people that are doing a minimum wage job are still making 15 to 20 bucks an hour all around the country. There's only maybe one or two exceptions. But even if you are making 15 or 20 an hour, it's still difficult. But let's not pretend like most of us are making $7 an hour, because I know in the grand scheme of things, very few of us are.
But they're banking on the fact that people are poor enough, that they need food badly enough, that they cannot afford their rent, to the point of having to work multiple minimum wage jobs just to get by. This is a universal experience for.
That dog looks like he is deep in thought back there. Can you guys see the dog?
And on another note, if a company cannot afford to pay somebody $15 an hour for the job they're doing, that job is probably not very valuable. And if $15 does not cover the cost of that job, what is it necessary? And if it is necessary, then it is worth $15 an hour.
So this is what's scary about when we open our borders up and you allow people to come in. They will take those $8, $9, $10 an hour jobs. And as long as we keep allowing more and more people in and they take those lower wages, jobs are going to be able to hire them before they hire you. So what we have to do as a country is we have to say enough is enough. Don't let any more people in here. Let's get these wages up where they need to be. If you agree with me, let me know. And if you disagree with me, definitely let me know.
You know, now I understand why it was so looked down upon to be living with your parents back in the day. All you had to do was get a job. Here I am, college degree, multiple avenues of income, side hustles.
If you are one of these folks that has multiple jobs, I feel for you. I know it's not easy.
I honestly do not get how people are affording to live nowadays. 4 tires, Goodyear tires from my old F-350, 20-inch tires, $3,000 for 4 of them mounted
hell
and
no.
balanced, everything put on. That's crazy.
Put
I got
four-wheel
these
in.
ones made in China for $1,100 for 4 of them. So 35 cents on the dollar or so. We'll see how they last. Because I sure as hell am not paying $3,000 for a set of tires. I'll park it in the trees and go buy a beater.
See, I love this man's spirit. He's going to go with the cheaper tires so he can make do. That girl with the pie, she needs to go buy a Hostess pie and get over that pie thing.
I haven't joined in on complaining about anything in the economy, but when I saw this, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You mean to tell me Tostino's pizzas are now $3.49 a piece? And if you don't believe that, let me show you. I swear when I was a kid, these were 10 for $10, $1 each. $3.49, $3.49, $3.49, $3.49. What in the high holy of any and all hell has this world come to? For one Tostino's pizza.
So I agree with her. They used to be 99 cents, and I'm a big fan of Totino's pizza. She called them Tostinos, which leads me to believe she really doesn't buy that cheap stuff at all.
I'm not one to worship politicians, but I think there's lots of people out there who do, and lots of them worship Donald Trump. And to think that he can just do this to where you can buy all these groceries for cheap, or you think he's just going to magically bring the prices down, it's wild to me. It's just not going to happen. Also, let's take the time to look at this cart anyways. No wonder you shop expensive. Look at all these processed foods. Got popcorn, Hot Pockets, corn dogs. Maybe if you just buy some fresh groceries, like some fresh fruit, some cucumbers or something, maybe that'd be a little bit cheaper for you if you.
So I love how this guy is complaining, but at the same time, he gives you a solution, and it's a real good solution. You can buy generic, you can start buying canned vegetables, you can start preparing your own meals rather than buying these prepared meals. A lot of those things in the cart are the most expensive item. They could all be, you can go for generics with everything. Okay, this is one that I saw earlier, and I think he's lying. This is not $70 worth of stuff, sir.
Yo, this is what $70 gets you at Walmart.
Okay, real quick, the water's $4. The sausage there is probably 6 or 7. Those 2 packages of meat, probably another 4 or 5 a piece. That looks like $35 worth of stuff. And I say this because I shop at Walmart. You guys know this guy's fibbing.
Yep, that's it. $70.
You're fibbing, sir. You're probably holding a video game in your hand.
Anyway, the economy is so cooked in the United States. Like, I went to the corner store today. There was like an elder in front of me trying to get his Cheerios. He got 3 boxes of Cheerios. Let me just show you like how much it costs for a box of cereal now. It's crazy. $7.59 for a box of cereal, and that was the price for all the cereals, including like the Cheerios that the elder picked up. $7.59. If you are a millennial like me, you remember when like Chipotle burritos back like 15
years ago, I would go to these Filiberto's 24-hour Mexican joints, right? And you could get a giant carne asada burrito back then. And I swear, guys, wasn't it like $3.99? And then you would get a large horchata and it was like another $2 or $3. Nowadays, it's like everything on the Filiberto's meal deals is like $14. Crazy stuff. But she's right. Cereal's expensive, but you want to know something? If you make a box of cereal last you a week, which it should if you're a bachelor, $8 for a whole week's worth of food isn't too horrible.
A box of cereal is almost $8.
Now, the truth is, at the actual grocery store for $8, you do get the family size. And if you work out the price per ounce, it's usually better to get the bigger box, lasts you longer. She's talking about if you go and buy it at the gas station. Don't do that.
Does anyone else just like constantly ignore things that they know their body needs because of capitalism? Like, for example, like,
I don't know, that deodorant up in Canada for $18. I think I would ignore that.
Like, you know you need sleep, but instead of getting sleep, you end up working your like second or third job all night trying to just like make ends meet. Or instead of going to the dentist, you buy food. You end up giving up certain things that really are necessities. Like, for example, I haven't had a massage in almost a year, like a professional one.
Is that a necessity?
I feel like my entire body is full of bricks.
It's called bones. Eat something.
I'm at the point where I can't stop ignoring these things anymore.
Seriously, what's wrong with TikTokers? They lie about the price of water and then they talk about the massage being a necessity. Go get yourself one of those massaging chairs, plug it into the wall and use it forever. I agree prices are sky high, but guys, if you're young and you get all your information from TikTok, just know these people do exaggerate quite a bit. If you agree with me that you don't need a massage, please let me know down in the comments.
It's my monthly inflation report again, July 2024. I do this every month, so if you want additional context, you can check out some of the previous videos I put up here on it. I will say, single man, no kids, no wife, no family, no dog, no cat. And people got the nerve and the audacity to ask me why I don't want kids. Like I'm gonna be able to pay for some kids when I'm paying this much for groceries and gas. But hey, it's the current economy we living in.
So I like that he gave us his total. So let's go over this. A month's worth of food and gas. This guy, it runs about $1,000, closer to 1,100. $600 a month on groceries, $200 a month on takeout, which some people say, hey, you can save money there, but that sounds like he's only doing takeout once or twice a week. That's not too horrible. But then he has gas again at $2.94. You already put it in your food bill above. See how people exaggerate these numbers if you don't look close? Anyway, we all know that prices are sky high. We all know we want to make more. There is one thing you can do that'll help you get healthier and save some money. It's getting your shoes on. Let's go for a walk.
Venters, good morning, obviously. Happy Friday Eve for you guys. I'd like to talk a little bit about timing today. Sometimes we don't realize how important timing is. Case in point, last night I went to one of my favorite fast food places, Whataburger. And by the way, one of my best ways to lose weight, if you eat a lot of fast food, would be to ditch the meal and just go for the entree itself. For example, instead of getting a number one, which is their classic single burger or whatever the heck it's called, right? Instead of getting the number one, which also comes with fries and a soda, a lot of times I'll ditch the fries and the soda and just get the burger itself. By doing that, you end up eliminating about half of the price. For example, if you get the meal, I think it comes close to $11, which is not that bad nowadays for a meal at a fast food restaurant. Most of the meals at McDonald's are closer to $13, I've noticed. So you save a couple bucks by ditching the meal. The burger itself is closer to like $6 or $7, right? And then look at all the calories that you save by ditching that large or medium-sized soda and by ditching that French fry. Now I know what you're thinking. Jesse, if I go to fast food after work and I'm hungry, by golly, I'm gonna get the meal. But keep in mind, there's certain places like Wendy's where instead of getting French fries, you might be able to get a little salad or a potato or something slightly different than just French fries. And there's nothing forcing you into drinking the soda. You could always go with a diet soda, a Powerade, which is slightly less sugar, or you could even go with water, right? You don't always have to go the worst possible option. But I'm not here to talk with you about the burger or even the price, although I think the price and those calories are things that we need to start taking into account. The reason I'm talking to you about that is today, around 11 in the morning, I noticed that there were helicopters circling the skies. Literally 2 of them just going in a circle. And I thought to myself, something must have happened. Maybe somebody took off and they're chasing them down with police, and the choppers are in the sky helping them, keep an eye on the subject, so to speak. But I found out that at the Whataburger that I went to eat at, guys, they actually had a officer-involved shooting. And apparently 1 or 2 of the Whataburger windows is actually shot out as of right now. I don't know if they've replaced it since earlier today or not. But let's talk about timing. Last night, when I went, I was stuck in that drive-thru for probably a good 5 to 10 minute period. Could you imagine if you were stuck in a drive-thru right as a shootout between cops and bad guys took place? What would you do? A lot of us would be frozen in fear. Some of us would get the heck out of there by going over the curb or whatever the heck you have to do. And I suppose if you have one of those bigger trucks or SUVs, it's a little bit easier to do than if you have a small compact car. But either way, lives change because that person ended up getting taken out by the cops. Again, it was literally just down the street. If that would have happened last night, I might have been stuck in a drive-through line as bullets were whizzing by. Now, here's the reason I bring it up. Whether you know it or not, a lot of us have had these timing issues in life. You know, how many times when you were a kid did you leave an area and maybe you got lucky because maybe a couple of seconds later, a bully that didn't like you was heading towards that area, right? You might have had a lot of situations like that. When I was younger, you would hear stories of people meeting their future husband or their future wives at a shopping center or at the mall or at a bookstore, right? Although that still happens nowadays, it probably happens less frequently because most people have just become convinced that the only way to date is via these apps and online hookups, right? But back in the day, you actually met people out in person, and I have a feeling that still happens, probably especially in the small towns. If any of you guys have an interesting story dealing with timing, let me know. Sometimes it's perfect timing, and sometimes it's a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'd be willing to bet that we've all heard dozens of stories like this, and they're quite interesting if you think about it. Take that teacher in the school, what's it called? Abundant Life School in Madison, Wisconsin. There were two girls. I believe one of them was being bullied. I believe the other one ended up bringing the gun to the school and taking out that child, that student. But they also took out a teacher. Now that teacher, no matter how you slice or dice it, was at the wrong place at the wrong time. But I'd be willing to bet that around this country, every year there's probably tens of thousands of people that lose their life for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. How many times have you seen cars minding their own business, they're going through an intersection, and then another car comes from the opposite direction, they run a red light, or from the side, they run a red light, they T-bone the driver of the unsuspecting car, and before you know it, that person has left the earth. It can happen just like that. You're a victim of fate's circumstances. My daughter, she's an okay driver, but when she was first learning, she was borderline scary. I almost had a heart attack and pulled out 3 or 4 handfuls of hair while just teaching her how to drive back in the day. And one time I was talking to my son-in-law, her husband, and he goes, "God, you won't believe this." I go, "What?" He goes, "I think your daughter has caused 3 or 4 accidents and doesn't even realize it." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "The other day we were driving, she cuts off somebody, she didn't even realize she did it, and the person ended up having to jump off the freeway to avoid an accident." And he goes, "There goes your daughter just driving on by like it's no big deal, right?" And the reason he knew this is because they were both driving on the freeway in their own vehicles. He just happened to be a couple of cars behind in another lane, so he was able to see all this happening. And nobody wants to know that one of their kids is driving so horribly that it's causing accidents, but I think that happens with a lot of elderly drivers, a lot of suspect drivers that aren't necessarily that good, a lot of drinking and driving type drivers, right? What's really tough is, like I said, the cop had to take care of the guy that was shooting at him and had to shoot the guy, whoever he was. And all we know is that now at Christmas, there's going to be an empty space at the table in that guy's home. Now, I'm assuming you shoot at a cop, you've got some bullets coming to you, you know? So I'm not saying the cop did anything wrong because I don't even know the story. I haven't heard about it on the news yet other than just in passing. But I guess the moral of the story is this: no one is guaranteed tomorrow. So what are you going to do about that today? My thinking is more than likely you're not going to get shot while you're at a drive-thru at Whataburger. And more than likely you're not going to get shot because a cop shoots at you. more than likely what's going to take people like you and me out is actually the Whataburger itself. That's why I think it's so important that you always make a plan. How about this? How about you always try to keep a little 5 or 6 pack of water bottles in your car? And then that way, if you ever do stop by a Whataburger, instead of getting the whole meal, you can get yourself a side salad. You can get yourself just the burger, and you drink your water, and before you know it, you've eliminated a good handful of those calories from your intake. It's those little moves over time combined with daily walking that are going to make it where people like you and me, Venters, where we actually win the war against, obesity. Look at this guy out here. He's playing frisbee golf, right? Disc golf or whatever it's called. Now that's one of those things that when he's doing it, there's probably very little of him that thinks, I'm doing this to be healthy. He's probably just doing it to kill time because he enjoys it, because maybe he's getting better at frisbee golf or whatever. I've never played frisbee golf in my life, but I've watched it. There are some amazing shots on YouTube of people making frisbees into the basket from super distances. It's crazy. But think about this. There was a time before playing frisbee golf that guy probably didn't do anything. He probably played video games with his friends. He probably hung around watching TV, eating Cheetos all day. Now that doesn't mean go grab a bag of Cheetos, guys. What it means is that every day we're making these little decisions that push us down these pathways, leading to decisions and to different things in our life that could take us down the road to a heart attack, to a stroke. Some people make bad decisions like getting in shootouts with the police, but other people never go that route. They make an even scarier decision, which is messing up their health in the long run. That's why it's important that no matter how much you like or dislike the show, it's very important that you take the overall message to heart. If you want to be here for a long time with your friends and family, you really got to get good at being more healthy. God, I wish you guys could see these birds. There was just 4 of them taking a bath together like friends. Look at, and then they're taking off. You see that? God, that was so cool. There goes timing. If I would have walked a little bit sooner, you guys could have seen 4 bird friends taking a bath together. How neat is that? There's some subtle things that you'll see on a walk that you never knew you would see in your life. I've seen a bird and cat staring each other down just while I was on a walk with you guys. I saw another bird that looked like it survived a nuclear attack the other day. You guys saw that bird too. And now we get to see a couple birds frolicking in a bird bath. I'm telling you, I absolutely love my walks. And by the way, I want to give a big shout out to Six Pack Sean. Sean, you told me that Airwolf was the name of that show from yesterday. And you said that you also enjoyed Knight Rider. God, I really loved Knight Rider too. What's funny is when I was a kid, that Pontiac Firebird or whatever the heck Kit was, that was such a cool car. Nowadays, when you see that same car, because I still see them every once in a blue moon, they look like crap. Nobody has kept their car looking nice that's that old, right? So they all look like something that nobody would ever want. And it's hard to believe that when you look at that car, at one time back in the 80s when Kit was popular, that was like the car to get. I remember in Back to the Future, remember Marty had that truck that he wanted? It was like a 4x4 Datsun or Toyota pickup truck. Very, very cool truck. That was a truck that I wanted when I was in high school. But I never see those vehicles out anymore. And I wonder why. If they made those trucks again, God, I bet they would be best sellers. Here's a scary thing with timing. We're about a week and a half, 2 weeks from the new year. There are some people right now that are eating a donut, that are eating a steak dinner, that are eating a meal with their family and they're telling themselves, I'm going to go on a diet and exercise routine for my New Year's resolution. The sad thing about that is there's a percentage of them, let's say there's 1 million people thinking that right now, there's a percentage of them, maybe 1%, maybe 0.5%, that actually are going to pass away in the next 2 weeks because they don't start that walking and exercise routine now. There's no better time to start a diet and exercise routine than today, especially when you consider that we just got done with Halloween and Thanksgiving, and for Christmas coming up, some people are going to eat another meal that is right there on par with Thanksgiving dinner. So why the heck would you want to wait another 2 weeks when you're another 3 or 4 pounds heavier? If you hear my words, don't do that to yourself. Nobody is guaranteed or promised tomorrow. Start walking today. That's the key. We don't live in the past. Tomorrow is not here. We are constantly in this thing called the now. And the best way to take care of this body of ours, this uniform that we're in on this planet, is to get out and use it. Go up to the park, take a basketball, go shoot some hoops. It's not necessarily that you have to walk, it's just that you have to keep moving. If you have a heated pool, by golly, you bought that heated pool so that you could use it even during the coldest times of the winter. Why don't you heat up that bad boy? And why don't you make a goal to swim for 20 to 30 minutes a day, assuming you don't want to take a walk? But whatever you do, just know we're all taking a risk with this thing called timing. I say there's no better time than today. There's no better time than now. By the way, sometimes you might see me take a shortcut home or make the walk a little faster. Keep in mind, I go from this walk, get in my vehicle, I go down to Planet Fitness, and then I go in there and I take another walk on the treadmill. I also do some ab work. Your boy really enjoys walking, so even if I cut my walk with you short, it's not necessarily that I'm cutting my walk short at all. I technically do extra credit walks every single day. So even when I gain a little weight for Halloween and maybe keep it on during Thanksgiving, I always know that going into Christmas and into the new year, I'm going to lose a lot of that weight. Because Halloween's the reason I eat excessive candy. Once Halloween's out of my system, I'm able to go long stretches of time without eating any sugar. And you should try those things too. It's good to challenge yourself. If you know that you don't want to give up sugar forever, fine. Don't give it up forever. But get used to giving it up for little 3-month challenges and stuff. So remember, we're going to start day 1 of our next 90-day challenge here for the new year, and hopefully we'll get some new people to walk with us. I found, and I think you will too, that if you are willing to give up that fry and drink, then all of a sudden that $13 or $14 meal deal becomes a real easy to handle $6 or $7. And no, nobody wants to eat a burger by itself. Even if you add a nice cup of water to it, you still want something to go with it. Ditch the fries, go get some, lettuce, and make yourself a salad. And don't make yourself an unhealthy salad. There used to be this place that I loved going, and it was called Sweet Tomatoes. Where you live, it might have been called Super Salad, but either way, it was one of these buffet salad bars. And I never saw people eat healthy there at all. Because it was so expensive, they would end up getting a salad that was basically like 3 salads in one, and they would top it off with Thousand Island dressing and put 2 or 3 hard-boiled eggs on it. And before you know it, they made this salad anything but healthy. Why can't you make your own salad? You can buy a head of lettuce for pretty cheap, or even if you get one of those pre-packaged salads and a little bit of salad dressing, it's still going to be cheaper than the fries and drink at McDonald's. I'm telling you, convenience is what is killing us all. We love that when we're tired after work, We have the convenience of the drive-through. Try to get away from that if you can. And even if you're not good at getting away from it 7 days a week, even if you can go from eating that stuff 3 or 4 days a week to maybe 2 times a week, that's going to be a win for you. I think women know this better than men because typically speaking, women are okay with cooking for themselves. A lot of times guys, they get too lazy. They don't want to cook for themselves. Maybe they've got that fast metabolism because they're still young. And before you know it, they hit their 30s and 40s. And all of a sudden, they're not healthy at all. I want to be one of these guys that when I'm 60 or 70, I'm still walking. That's what I want. I see some people and they're wheelchair bound. And it just seems like a shame because it's not like they got there because of a car accident. They literally just ate their way into their wheelchair. It's horrible. One of my friends got me this from work as part of my Secret Santa gift. So hey, here's just yet again another t-shirt. You guys might have noticed I have quite the collection of shirts. I try to wear different shirts every day. I actually have a couple of Walk Talk Vent t-shirts, but because of all the shirts I have, I only wear my Walk Talk Vent t-shirts about once a week, maybe twice. See, this is weird. Look at all these doves, or those might be pigeons, but do you see them up there on the power line, guys? If you notice, they must be able to communicate. How the heck do they know how to group together like that at certain times of day? The only thing that you can explain that with is that either we're in a simulation and that's part of their programming, or they must just communicate with each other. And wouldn't it be crazy if you found out that all animals can communicate with one another? They just chose to communicate telepathically. God, that would be crazy, wouldn't it? And if you found out that they actually were able to communicate telepathically, it would make it where everybody would want to become vegetarians, because it's really hard to want to take out somebody that actually has thoughts and communicates. It's like, oh my God, I don't think I can eat chicken anymore. Why, Jesse? Because the chicken's telling me that it really likes this weather. And by the way, have you ever seen how some people on farms will take a live chicken and I guess they'll cut its head off, and the body of the chicken will run around for like a good minute or two without its head? Well, one time I read a story out of the Guinness Book of World Records. You guys probably heard about this, where they decapitated this one chicken and it ended up living for like 9 years without its head. Is that creepy or what? Makes you wonder, why the hell did somebody decapitate it if you're not going to take it out of its misery? But then again, how do you take it out of its misery? You already tried chopping its head off. It's crazy. So you might be asking, why didn't we really go over a story today? Well, sometimes you got to remember where you live is the most important story. So if you have a fast food restaurant that you attend and there's a shootout there, that's kind of the story for the day, right? At least in your eyes. If it were up to me, we would talk about aliens a lot. But I don't want this channel to be an alien channel. Geez Louise. Bob, no. This is a walking channel. The walk must go on. We are the Venters. We walk every single day. So I want you to keep walking. Do a little extra credit. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.